sorry, I can't. Okay. Hello and welcome to In My Own Words with your host, Kimberly. I'm Real. And I want to start off by saying I hope everyone's day has started out wonderful and blessed. And I hope you had a wonderful, outstanding weekend. And Christmas is almost here. Christmas is almost here. And I wonder if everyone is ready. I wonder if everyone is in the spirit of being thankful for what you have right now, not in the past. We can always be ready for what's to come, but are we thankful for right now? Although it may not look like what you've been through, it doesn't look like where God is getting ready to take you. So let's, as we always say, I don't look like what I've been through. It doesn't look like where God is getting ready to take you neither. So, as I always start out, my weekend was rather busy. First and foremost, I want to say today was kind of hard. Didn't know if I was going to make it or not. The enemy was after me, but I was determined to get here. I was determined to do what I needed to do. I had a guest, and he's out sick, but the show must go on. And so I do have a friend that's going to be calling in, and we spoke this morning, and it was just such a wonderful and blessed conversation. She knows me for the year now that we've been knowing each other. She knows me very well, and it's just amazing to connect with an individual who sees and knows the heart of you and can tell when you're genuine, even when some others know you and have been knowing you the same amount of time or even longer and think otherwise. So it was just a blessing to have that conversation today. She really boosted my spirits and put me back in the right mind, because my thing right now is what I've been telling people is that my peace right now is at an all-time high, and I plan on keeping it that way. I keep seeing a glare, so forgive me if I keep messing with the side of my head. I keep seeing a glare. But what I want to say is when I was trying to think of what I was going to talk about, since I don't have my guest, and I said that I was going to allow the Spirit to lead me, it put me in the mind of my morning. And it's like each and every time I try to, well, come get it. Each and every time I try to think positive and move forward, it just seems like the enemy always is still just trying to throw things at me to make me feel less than what it is. So what I want to talk about today is what God has. You're doing a great work, and you have to remember when your purpose has been announced within you, within your spirit, not to everyone else, but when your purpose has been announced within your spirit, know that things are going to come at you, but you have to trust the Spirit. As I think some people say, trust the Spirit by the Spirit, but you have to know it. And so there's a song that is entitled Great Work. And the song just reminds me of my grandmother, and what I'm doing didn't just start now. It started way back when. And as many people as I'm trying to reach out to, the more the enemy is going to try and come at me. And one of the things that I'm blessed with is a good team right now. I have a wonderful team, and within that team, I see that my 2019 is going to start off with a blast. It's not going to begin like it did last year. And finances have nothing to do with it, which that'll be a part of it. But it's just my purpose and the great work that's in me. Just thinking about January in itself, I have some wonderful guests that are going to come on. I have, I think, one or two for the month of January. I have two ex-NFL players, and they're going to talk about their organizations and what they're doing and life after the NFL. I also have a gentleman that's going to be coming on that is a ex-gang member, and he's going to talk about what he learned and how he's also giving back and helping the youth and letting them know that that's not a part of life and what you want to do. It looks good, or to you, it may look good, and the love that these kids feel they're not getting at home, they feel like the way to go about getting it is in a gang. He's going to share all of his experiences. And I think we, even as parents, even as uncles and aunties, cousins that are grown, I think that's good for us, because one, it'll help us look at signs and try to recognize different activity when we think is normal activity, as some people may say they're just being a typical teenager. And for me right now, with having an 18-year-old, I don't think anything is a typical teenager anymore, because we have the rap music and we have the rap videos, and then we have those that are just out there doing whatever, whenever, and however. But that gentleman is going to come and shed some light on life as a gang member, as well as life after being in a gang, and how he is helping our youth of today. And I'm naming these. I haven't named these people, but I'm bringing up these people because I'm speaking of great work. As an NFL player, I'm pretty sure they thought that at some point that was what all they were going to do. That was their main focus. And then after they were no longer playing, they had to come up with something to do. Okay, what else am I good at? What is my purpose? And so that was a great work that started within them. And the same thing with the gang member. He thought that was the life. That was what he was supposed to do. That's all he knew. But now look at his purpose. He had to, they say, trust the process. That's the problem. A lot of us, and Bishop spoke on that, a lot of us don't want to trust the process, so we forget about the promise. But if you trust the process and go through it, then you know that there's a promise in the end. And I have a queen coming that she's doing wonderful and great things, and she's the wife of one of the NFL players, and she's doing outstanding things in the community and throughout the world, to be exact, with her ministry and her women's empowerment, and she's a life coach. And so I'm just very happy, excited, and honored to have been introduced to these individuals, and we'll have them on my show. So in that lets me know that I'm on the right path as well, because as I said before, although my show says in my own words, it's not all about me. I'm all for supporting and having people on here that can shed some light either on topics that I'm speaking of or on topics that they have themselves. And I want to say thank you to each and every one that has joined in this morning. I do apologize. I cannot call you by name because my phone was doing its own little thing, so I can't look and see who's on there. So I just want to say thank you to each and every one that, thus far that has taken the time to join in and watch the show. And you're more than welcome to call in. If you have any questions, you can ask, or if you just want to say hi, you're more than welcome to call in. And speaking of great works, I don't know how many of you may have watched the video from yesterday afternoon when I picked up Nyala, and we went to drop off some things with the homeless. And I decided to just go ahead and do the second round of giving out those things, donating those items with my children this time, so we talk about it, and they have given before, but I wanted them, before the year was out, with Christmas being right here, to get a better understanding at this time of the year, that it's not all about receiving yourself. So the great work that is in me with giving, even though in the past I may have been going through, or in the past I may have been that is something that I have always done. I don't always, I'll post, like I told someone the other day, I'll post my lows before I post every high, because I want people to know that even in my lowest, I'm still smiling. I'm still grateful for what has been placed inside of me. Just because I'm going through a low, that doesn't mean that I can't still do great things. I can't teach my kids to do great things. So on yesterday, when I took my daughter along with me, and we left Mechanicsville, the one that you saw on the tape. We were in the Mechanicsville area, and once we left there, we went to the shelter, the women's and children's shelter that I what I've adopted. I'm not going to say sponsor, but I've adopted. And there was a young lady who had her son out there, and her son was climbing up on the fence. And I gave 2 of the little packets to a male that was out there, and he told me that he has a lady friend that is with him, and asked that I have any women toiletries, and I told him no, that I would bring some back today. And so when we left, I asked my daughter, did she see the little boy and his mother and the car? And I explained to her that they were living in their car. And Naila likes doing live for the most part. But yesterday when I asked her, did she want to speak on her experience, she said no. And as I was explaining to her about the young lady and her son sleeping in their car, I gave her, I brought up about us last year, and I told her that could have been us. Although deep down inside, I feel, it wouldn't have went that far, but you never know. So I explained to her that everybody could be put in that situation, and that young lady looks at her son, and that's probably her motivation. He is her motivation. And I explained to her that she and her 2 sisters and her brother are my motivation. But things happen, and people end up in situations that they can't get out of right away. And so in speaking to her and telling her that, I told her that's why I make sure that I do what I do, because it's good to give back even when you don't have it and you're not looking for something. But also I explained to her that this has been a part of a great work. As I said, this has been a part of a great work in me that I didn't even know at the time. And so now that I know what my great work is, now that I know and wish to give back, I share that with my children. And as this being the Christmas season, I really wonder how many of us are really explaining to our kids and our grandkids. I'm not saying that you have to go to the homeless shelters. I'm not saying that you have to go up under the bridges. I'm not even saying you have to go and give back. I'm just wanting to know what are we really showing our kids as far as us having a great work in us. That's my question. What are we really showing our youth? I've mentioned this before, that the TV shows so much. Other kids, they learn stuff from other kids, but what are we as the adults showing our kids? Everybody has a purpose. you have to look deep inside yourself to see what their purpose is. Everybody has a great work. And in doing that, what I did on yesterday, I'm not looking for an entourage of people. I put it out there when I had my event, for people to donate. I put it out there that I wasn't charging at the event. Just bring something and donate for the homeless. And I guess because I don't have an entourage of people behind me, I'm not with this group and that group. People did not reach out like I feel they possibly could have. But what the Spirit told me is that great work is for me. That great work is not for me to worry about who come, who doesn't come. If He put it in me, that's a part of my purpose. That great work that was put inside of me. So go and do what I told you to do. You have your daughters. You want to show them you are their first example. Show that example to them. That's who really needs to see it. So when I went yesterday doing my purpose, showing my daughter the great work, I was like, okay, let's just go do it. I don't need a slew of people to go and do it. And once Cynthia got out of school, Naila shared it with her. And so quite naturally, Cynthia being who Cynthia is, she was excited and she's ready to go out again and do it. Last year, 2 years ago, I posted a picture of my girls. We had went, and I remember we were living in Lovejoy at the time, and we stopped to get something to eat, and we saw this white guy that was at Walmart, at the edge of Walmart. And so we got something to eat, so I got him something to eat. The girls took it, presented it to him, and I asked the gentleman, could we get a picture with him? I posted that picture on Facebook, and I remember people telling me, well, he's out there all the time. He may be doing this. He really doesn't need it. What I have learned and what I had to explain to someone just on yesterday when I was talking to them and telling them about what we did, and they said, some of those people, they don't have to be on the street. Some of those people get checks, but they choose to live on the street. Well, I explained to those people back then, and I explained again on yesterday. The thing is, that's just like judging. Just because I get up every day, or let me take myself out of the equation, just because someone gets up every day, put a smile on and walk out the door, that doesn't mean that everything is good. That doesn't mean that they're not going through something, they're not in need of something. So we're going to judge based on what we think we know. So my thing was, I don't know what this person is receiving. If they're receiving a check, I don't know that. If they choose to be at that, I don't know that. I can't go through each and every person and ask them, are you out here because you want to be out here? Do you get a check, but you just haven't found a new place to stay? That's not my job. My job is to do the great work that was placed inside of me, and that is to help others. So when we start trying to label people and say they don't have to be out there on the street, they don't have to be living in their car, then I feel like we're judging them, and we're taking away from the great work that was put inside of us to do. So just think about it and try to go into 2019 with a different outlook on doing something. If my thing is, and I would say challenge, but I can't challenge people because, nobody wants to follow up with it. But what I decided to do for myself is, even when I go in Walmart and I get little toiletries for me and my kids or whatever, then I'll get little toiletries for them, at least 4 or 5 at a time. You can find them for $1. What is $5 extra gonna hurt when I go in Walmart to add it up to be able to help somebody? There's a good feeling when you help somebody from the heart. If you're helping somebody for people to talk about it, if you're helping somebody that really can help themselves sometime, I know it's good to sow into people and help them, but sometimes to help the less fortunate and be wholehearted when you do it, For me, it's a rejoicing feeling. I've had friends that have helped me. Even when I was up, they helped me, or just sowed a seed into my life. I've sown seeds into my friends' life that were good and that needed help. But to help someone that is in a place where any one of us can end up at any given time, I think that's a part of a great work. So I just want to share that with you right quick. And I'm going to take, if you don't mind, I'm going to take probably about a 2-minute break so I can get set up for Ebony to call in. And then we will get back with you and finish the rest of the show. Once again, thank you for tuning in this morning. And I'll be right back with you shortly.
Hey, you know you don't mess up, don't you?
What you talking about?
You know you don't mess up.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about.
Okay.
See this right here?
Yeah.
See all that? See the dude?
I don't know who this is.
You don't know who that is?
No.
Okay. So what you in it for?
See, I be trying to do everything right, but they won't get up and get turned for me. They won't get up and dance for me. They won't get up and do nothing. They won't support me, but they'll support their other crew. They'll get up and get turned for the other crew. They don't buy my music, but they'll buy their other crew music. Man, listen to my lyrics. What you really in it for? What you really in it for? What you really in it for? I think fame, what you glory. What you really in it for? What you really in it for? What you really in it for? I think fame, what you glory. What you really in it for? What you really in it for? What you really in it for? I don't think fame, what you glory. I'm so sick and tired of y'all Christian rapper time, let's unite. Then when it's wartime, about your balls. You taking that too far. God gave you that gift, but you acting like it is yours. What you really in it for? What you really in it for? What you really in it for? I think fame, what you really, what you really in it for? What you really in it for? What you really in it for? I think fame, what you really, what you really in it for? What you really in it for? What you really in it for? I think fame, what you in it for?
Hey, you know you don't messed up, don't you?
What you talking about?
You know you don't messed up.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about.
Okay.
See this right here?
Yeah.
See all that? See the dude?
I don't know who this is.
You don't know who that is?
No.
Okay. So what you in it for?
See, I be trying to do everything right, but they won't get up and get turned for me. They won't get up and dance for me. They won't get up and do nothing. They won't support me, but they'll support that other crew. They'll get up and get turned for that other crew. They don't buy my music, but they'll buy that other crew music. Man, listen to my lyrics. What you really in it for? What you really in it for? What you really in it for? I think fame, what you glory? What you really in it for? What you really in it for? What you really in it for? I think fame, what you glory? What you really in it for? What you really in it for? What you really in it for? I think fame, what you glory? I'm so sick and tired of y'all Christian rapper time about let's unite. Then when it's wartime, ain't none of y'all unequipped to fight. You say you ride for Christ, you say you die for Christ, but you can't even check your own clip. That girl right there's a dyke, and you got so hurt by the church that you wanna hear from nobody. Can't nobody teach you nothing, you too proud in your body. Ain't no excuses, I'm throwing deuces at you, Lil Wayne and Boosies. You cheating cause you think she thicker with a little bigger booty. What you wearing shades in the building for? Is it cause you higher, you wanna look like a gangster? What you walk around with that lean cup for? Is it cause you higher, you wanna look like a gangster? What you really in it for? What you really in it for? I think fame, what you really, what you really in it for? What you really in it for? What you really in it for? I think fame, what you really, what you really in it for? What you really in it for? What you really in it for? I think fame, what you really. Ready for the glitter and the gold? Are you really in it to save souls? Tell me. Now you wanna use cussing in your rapping on Facebook, but ain't no such thing as no halfway crook. You either Christian or you not, either stand or get dropped, or you could be just like swine, go out there and eat slop. I refuse to let that one of y'all come in God nation, thinking that you gon' change it. That right there's abomination. God word don't change, no, his word don't change. You a Christian first, look great, and I say it in your face. Just remember that it's blood on your hands and you gon' own it. Dating and bizzle forever, it is God over money. I'm only saying what Christians thinking, but scared to say it. If you got a problem, we can sit down and talk like men. I was gangster, disciple then, and they kept out my life. Now I got Christ. You think when I hit them streets, I'm thinking twice. See, all I keep hearing you say is I find your lyrics are. That sound like a full of yourself, degenerate superstar. Who cares about your balls? You taking that too far. God gave you that gift, but you acting like it is yours. What you really in it for? What you really in it for? What you really in it for? I think fame, what you really, what you really in it for? What you really in it for? What you really in it for? I think fame, what you really, what you really in it for? What you really in it for? What you really in it for? I think fame, what you really for?
J-Town exclusive.
Do you remember the first time you heard from the spiritual individual that be kicking all of the lyricals and be serial killing the game, man, in the Lord's name? Cause he be coming with them gangster beats that dance your feet, cause ain't nobody changing me. I stand firm when I plant my feet, and they ain't never gonna change. I do what I do, and I'm doing it well. I got it on lock, and I don't need no bail. The spirit is in me, you know that it's true. So I'ma tell you what I'm gonna do. I'ma make it look good. I'ma make it look go so good. Hey, I'ma make it look good. I'ma make it look go so good. Hey, I'ma make it look good. I'ma make it look go so good. Hey, I'ma make it look good. Hey, I'ma make it look go so good.
Yeah, me and him, we not the same. I praise him in my own way. Yes, I got something to say. Yeah, I think that I'm feeling okay. Catching them play like OJ. Yeah, take it trip to the OJ. And I'm sipping on J. I'm tryna serve my own way. Making sure my family straight. Tryna get the heavyweight. I'm coming back to the session. I thank God for all of his blessings. I praise him, I make it look easy. I ride the Gucci and them Yeezys. And steady popping like a pimple. Them rapping it come from the
make it look good. Decatur, home, this my hood. Don't get it misunderstood. Was down bad, now I'm back, God is good. I've been covered in the blood of Jesus since a fetus. On my stripes like Adidas. This is for my youngins, cause you know they need us. So fresh and clean, you know I'm the neatest.
Hello and welcome back to In My Own Words with your host, Kimberly, ImReal. I now have Ebony. Ebony, are you there? Hello, Ebony.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. Yes, I can hear you. It sounds like you're far away, but I can hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. I'm glad that you called in. Earlier in the show, when I first started the show, I mentioned that today was kind of like the enemy was trying to keep me from doing the show, and also I was supposed to have a guest to come in, but he's ill, and that you help brighten and put me back in the right mind. And so if you don't mind, although you have been on the show before, you're calling in, and for those that are listening, if you don't mind just briefly telling people how we met, and in this year, you know, how our bond has come to be what it is.
Well, basically, my name is Ebony McLaughlin. Of course, she's already introduced me, and I am the founder and CEO of Infinity Youth Incorporated, which is what brought me and Miss Kimberly ImReal together, connected. One day I was getting ready to get a couple of events done, and I was looking for someone to connect with Radio Wise, and I was following her or hearing her, and I met her through Facebook. But as we met through Facebook and we listened and we talked, the visions kind of aligned. Although I work with youth, she worked with adults, but it's still aligned. So during the period, we've grown a bond, and at times she gets upset or she shuts me down, or I get upset and I shut her down because we keep each other on track. So that's pretty much how we met. That's how we connected, which is my vision to always inspire, lead, and encourage. And from that day forth, we've been connected to each other, and my plans is to stay connected. So I just wanted to inspire you, Kimberly, as well as anyone that's listening. Remember what your vision is for, and remember who it's for. No matter who's going to connect or who's not going to stay, when you're doing what you're doing, you're not doing it for those naysayers.
Right. And you are very, very good at drawing me back to where I need to be. And one of the things, as I tell people, you know, and I said it earlier, I will post a low before I post a high. And I try to keep things so is close to being real and facts as I can. And that's one of the reasons why I asked you to go ahead and call in this morning, because like you said, there's a reason why we connected. And what happened this morning, that's another reason why I know that we were connected by God, because there are not a lot of people that can pull me back to the place that I need to be, to shake me up. And so although you didn't physically have to put your hands on me and shake me up, you brought me back to where I needed to be, because I was feeling some kind of way. I was in my little zone, and I'm in a season to where I can't trust everybody with speaking of my vision and what I want to do. And though I've had people that come to me, and I've had people that come, but they weren't real, and they just want to see, what I'm doing, what I'm thinking, and stuff like that. So I really, really and truly thank you for this morning. I didn't even know if I was going to, reach you when I called you. And so timing is everything. And like I said, when I'm feeling a certain type of way, I'll wait until I feel okay to speak with someone. And it's like, in this year time, how I am, and that's what you're there for. And I just don't know any other way to put it other than to say that I thank you so very much. And then I thank you too for understanding me and knowing and growing and saying, okay, well, I know when like you did one day when I came to your house, whatever, you'll be all right. You remember that day?
Yes, I'm here.
No, I said, do you remember that day when I came to your house and you was like, okay, whatever, because I was in a mood?
Oh, yes. Kimberly is a very, how would I say it? She's a caring person. She cares with her heart and whole. And we have our talks at times. We can go weeks without speaking, and I think of her even when almost a month. But when she visited and we sit, it brings us back. So the connection that we have is not just a connection, it's authentic, and I know it was God-led. And as I said before, when individuals come in my circle, if it's bad energy, I let them go quickly. Because for me, my peace and my sanity is everything. But for her and myself, it's kind of different, because she's one who, he has a dream, he has a mission for her. And because she continues to love wholeheartedly, she keeps bumping into different people that really doesn't mean her no good. So again, like I said, remember what you do and why you do it, and not who you do it for.
Well, thank you. I want to show and shed some light on you, because like I said, we support one another. And so I would like for you to speak on your vision and go into a little bit more information regarding your vision and Infinity, and also the powerful networking and encouraging seminar event that you had this past weekend. Because I feel like, especially going into 2019, a lot of more queens, and I want to say queens because that's what we're supposed to be, and we're supposed to adjust each other's crown. So, I think it's very important going into 2019. There are a lot of women here that can connect, but we have to connect for the right reasons, and supporting each other for the cause is good. But if you're not going to support each other wholeheartedly, then why bother? But go ahead and speak on what you do, and like I said, your event and how it all came together. Can you hear me, Ebony? Hello? Okay, well, I do apologize. I don't think she can hear me now. Ebony. Okay, we must have gotten disconnected, and I do apologize. But Ebony has a group. I'll try to give you the information that I have. Ebony has a group, which she stated earlier, and it's called Infinity Youth. And she started it in Mississippi, and now she's here in the Atlanta area. And it's a great organization. It helps with, helping kids. I think she has a tutoring thing, helping kids with tutoring and helping them to grow and to know who they are and to love who they are. Themselves, and to love themselves. And they talk about manhood and women and stuff like that, just to encouraging. And I can't give you all the details of it because it's, of course, her organization. And then she also had an event this weekend where she had women on come to an event, and just she had some powerhouse speakers. They talked about just lifting and what they're doing and their visions of where they're trying to go, and each and every one of them just shared different things, because we all have a story to tell, but it's different. No one has the same. No one can tell the exact same story, regardless to if it's the same. Like I myself had a situation growing up, and we all have had situations, but the experiences are different, and that's what people need to understand. Although we all have the same type story, we don't all have the same story. And so it's very important that, like I said just then, when we're supporting each other, just because it's the same situation, it's still different, because what you went through maybe will be different from what I went through. How I handled my situation will be different. But when we all come together and we put these platforms together and we have these women encouragement groups and events, then the women will all get something different out of it. Like with my Lay It on the Table events, I've had people that come out of their shell and they speak and they talk, and they never thought that they would share this information because they feel comfortable with one another. So that's why it's very important to try to connect with women. And thank you so very much. Ebony, you're back on?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I just gave a little bit of what I could regarding youth, your Infinity group. And I also just gave a little bit of your women empowerment event this past weekend. So if you would go ahead, did you hear, I don't know how long of the conversation that you heard before you got disconnected when I was telling you to mention a little bit about what you do as far as Infinity Youth,
yes,
and how you
help them? Yes,
help
that was the last part I heard, yes.
Okay. I want you to tell them, a little bit about what you do. I told them that it started in Mississippi and now you're doing it here. And I also brought them up to date a little bit about your women's empowerment brunch that you had this past weekend.
Okay, so Infinity Youth Incorporated, we are a nonprofit faith-based organization. And what we do on a daily basis is basically we equip the youth and young adults. We give them the necessary tools and resources needed to make sure that they're prosperous as they enter in their adulthood. We mentor middle to high school, from high school to college. Our main goal is making sure the children of the community and in the schools that may not have that support group know that anything that they're going through, obstacles or hurdles, can be jumped. They're still able to be successful. So we give them that. We help them find and identify their purpose, and we help them become and create an action goal plan, and we walk it through them. The other hand is we offer different seminars. We do scholarships, mentoring programs. We're just there in the whole to be that connect for the youth that don't have what they need to go to the next level. It's not limited to what we do for our youth of today. We want to make sure and let them know college is not for everybody, but we do encourage you to go. A lot of them like to be entrepreneurs. We give them those skills to be successful entrepreneurs. She was just speaking on one of the events we had over the weekend. That was one of our 2018 Women of Strength. That particular event was created to identify to our older women that our youth and young adults still need us. Meaning you need to invest in our youth, because without us, they're going to be lost as they come. The generation of today, they're battling a lot that we didn't have to battle. So that was the purpose of the event for this weekend. And I must say a lot of barriers was broken and change was released. In a whole, we're just here to be that support system for our youth and young adults to make sure they go to the next level of education, entrepreneurship, or career of their life, whatever they choose.
And that's good. And I want you, and I haven't gotten the information over to you, and I do apologize, but I did mention to you that I am joining the team of adults that will be mentoring at Crim High School, which is a second chance high school. And so as soon as I was asked about it, I thought about you, and that's why I tagged you in that post on Facebook, because I know you would, be good with coming in and mentoring and sharing what you do as well. And, because I use myself as an example, and then I also have to use my son. And Christian, and the up and downhill we've been through within this last year, and now he's back on track. But I feel like sometimes, to be honest, when I wanted to throw in the towel, and, at that time I wasn't saying get out or whatever, but when I was just like, okay, I'm done, whatever is whatever, Christian, you and Randy had a talk with him, and that was a blessing, because he did listen. And the way that Randy approached him was different from anybody else when they had, want to speak with him. And I just think that that's a good tool to have when, if you're available and your time allows for you to come and mentor at Crim, because that's something that you taught me. Randy taught me, coming from the male, and how to approach my son. I'm well at approaching and talking, but it's still a different approach in going to a teenager that mine was all over the place, from losing an uncle, and then 3 years later, then 3 years later, losing a great uncle, and trying to get his mind back right. And don't have a father figure there to really grab hold to him, because, as I always say, no shame to my ex-husband, but in the midst of trying to hurt me, he just kind of like threw Christian out there. So the way Randy went about talking to him and approaching him, it helped, although, Christian still was trying to see how he could play with me. So I just think that's a good tool in what you have as far as your approach, and even speaking to me as the parent, because a lot of times some parents don't want to hear what you have to say. And although you and I are close, I still could have came off, well, how you going to tell me how to talk to my son? I birthed and I raised him, because we know that's how some of us are. So for y'all to be on a team together, husband and wife, he comes in one way because he's speaking to the male one way. And then you, as the wife, you're coming to me, speaking to me, the mothers, and approaching them in the correct way. So I just think that's good in what you have going on.
Absolutely, Kim. And as I've always told you, and I'll share with everyone else that's your listening guest today and your team that's with you, the way we approach kids at this point in this day is the way they're going to respond to us. We don't know what a child is dealing with from the home. We can see what we see when you speak to the parents. We can hear what we hear. But at the end of the day, 9 times out of 10, if there's a struggling family, the parents is not going to lay it on the table with you until they build that relationship. So our goal in Infinity, we're here to let not only just the youth, but the parents as well as know you don't have to do it by yourself. And I know you have heard the saying of saying it takes a village to raise a child. Yes, many people have steered away from that because of the response of many parents and how they respond when someone chastises their child. But I stand firm on that. And I am one of those that will be willing to deal with that parent if it comes to that, because at the end of the day, if your son is at a gas station or your daughter is somewhere and they're doing something inappropriately and you can't get to them, it's my job. I took that oath. I am the youth advocate, and I took that oath to make sure my youth these barriers are broken on them. And it's not just with us African American, it happens with the Caucasian, with the Hispanics, and everyone else. But unfortunately, us African Americans, we are the higher percentages that get targeted. So when we approached you as first, like I said, it started off as a business and friends, but we end up being family. We approached you because no one is perfect. No woman can raise a man. No man can raise a woman. So therefore, as a whole, we're going to have to continue to raise these kids together. So I appreciate you taking what we gave you, respecting what we said. If we disagreed on anything, we talked about it. But we must remember, God created us all for a purpose. And until you truly understand your purpose and you walk in your purpose, not by man, but by God instructions and directions, we're going to continue to hit a wall.
And that is true. And I can admit I hit walls. I hit a wall with Christian, and since we really, really talked it out, and I stopped treating him like he, was unable to speak and just, he didn't have an opinion, then things have really, really gotten a lot better for us. So I hit a wall, but I was determined that I wasn't just going to throw my son away, and I just wasn't going to allow the streets to get him and take him. And so, of course.
And that's okay, because as you said, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
No, and I'm just saying that's okay, because as you said, no one has never approached you and your son in the way that we approached you guys. People are either going to be for you directly and willing to weather the storm with you, or they're going to give you their opinion and stand back and watch you go through your trials and tribulations. So at this time, you have a team that's willing to weather the storm with you. So you didn't hit a wall. You just were still trying to figure out how to raise your son without having that male figure in your circle.
And that is true. That is so true. But I want to thank you so much. Last minute.
Thank you.
But we pulled it together. Like I said, the enemy was after me this morning, and because the guest got sick, the enemy didn't want me to pull it together, but we did. And I thank you so much for as bringing the winning point on in for the show today. I appreciate that. Most of all, I thank you so much for the introductory and reaching out to me on Facebook. And here we are at the end of 2018, and I'm looking forward to what 2019 is going to bring for us together.
Absolutely.
In our purpose, and also in the lives of our family. And so if you would like to tell the viewers how can they follow you and get in touch with you, and anything else you would like to add before we close out the show.
Yeah, sure. If anyone is interested in the mentoring program or having a parent advocate for those parents that's not able to get to the school and keep up with the kids' academics and making sure they're on the right path, you can go to our page, Infinity Youth Incorporated, on Facebook. You can contact me directly at 470-432-4577. Again, that's 470-432-4577, and Infinity Youth Center Incorporated on Facebook.
And at some point, I do want to get you in. It's good that you called in, but I still would like to get you in again, because I know you have grown and things have changed since you were on my show last year. So at some point we need to get together and set a date for you. And if Randy is available to come back in, and, we'll do another show with you all, because the first one was very interesting. And like I said, we've all grown as a family now, and you know me better. And I appreciate you, seeing the good in me, even when sometimes it may not look like the good is there, that you did recognize, the good heart that I do have, even in the midst of. So kiss the kids for me. Tell them I say hello, and I'll be the love, joy sometime over this Christmas holiday. And thanks to those that tuned in to In My Own Words. I will not be here next Wednesday. I will see you for the new year. And as I stated earlier, the new year is going to start out with a blast as far as some things that I'm trying myself to add to my show and the guests that I will be having. So I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. And y'all know Kimberly ImReal on Facebook, Kimberly Glenn. And then on IG is Kimberly_ImReal. Continue to have a blessed day, and I'll see you in 2019.